Okay, in this tutorial I want to show you how you can use Photoshop to posterize something and get it to a good place so that you can then also create an EPS out of it, so that you can do something like get this picture into something that looks like this without actually having to make your own drawing. And this is not just using tracing outlines. If I were to use the outline tracing feature in Illustrator to try to achieve something like this, it would not look like this. It wouldn't look this good, actually. So just to give you some sense, this is kind of what's happening with it. So we have an outline up here that I could take or leave, and then so we start off with a base color, get here, 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 and here, and build up the highlights. And so we're going to take a look at how you can do something like that. And by the way, this would actually be grayscale starting off, and then you can come back and change the fill colors as you wish and recolor it, and then there's the outline if you wanted. Okay, so first of all, we're not going to start in Illustrator. We're going to start in Photoshop. So go ahead and open up Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click my elephant picture, and I'm going to go to Open With, and then I will choose Photoshop. That way it doesn't open up in a picture viewer. And here's our picture. Okay, so, and I don't really even have to worry about the fact that it's not very big, because I'm going to convert it to a vector. But anyway. All right, so first thing I'd like to do over in my layer panel, actually first thing I'd like to do is go up here to Window and go to Workspace, and I'm using the Essentials workspace, and I'm going to reset my Essentials. That way we can all start from the same place. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. If you're familiar with Photoshop already, then some of this is going to be a little bit potentially easier because you'll already know where things are and stuff. So just bear with me. If you don't know Photoshop, I'm going to try to explain everything as well as I can. So first of all, we have our layers panel down here in the bottom right corner. And I may choose to undock that at some point, like I can drag it like that. I'm just going to leave it docked here for the moment. And right now we have a locked layer for our elephant panel, or elephant layer. And I am going to also just make an adjustment layer. First of all, right down here, this little semicircle, if I click on that, I can create an adjustment layer. And the first thing I'm going to do is change the hue saturation so that I'm desaturating it. And you can see it pops up here. And I'm going to essentially just knock all the saturation out. Okay, so this is a non-destructive change, and if I were to go ahead and save this, I can save this right now. It's going to automatically try to save it as a Photoshop document because I have layers, and it's not just a single flattened layer now. So I'll go ahead and give it this name, which is already African Elephant Walking, and it's just going to put a PSD extension on it instead of my JPEG, so I'll save that. And then now I can just continue to do Command S or Control S to do quick shortcut keys to save as I'm going. Okay, so now that we have the elephant selected in grayscale, the other thing that I can do is I can toggle it on or off to see what that looks like. Now, one thing that kind of is useful is that whenever you are trying to isolate something, sometimes it's easier to do it when you have color, because color is going to give you more distinction between the tonal ranges. Whereas if I were to try to, destructively change my background elephant to all grayscale, you'll see that like now it's all in grayscale. So the tonal range would be harder to make selections from because it's all in one channel of the black channel. So anyway, let's just go ahead and it doesn't matter because no matter what, I'm going to be selecting it based off this background anyway, not based off of this adjustment layer, which is a non-destructive change. So I'm going to just disable the eyeball on that for a moment, and I'm going to make a really simple change over here. I'm going to go to my tool panel on this left side, and if I hold down this button right here, you'll see that this is the object selection tool, and usually it's really good these days in Photoshop. So I'm just going to choose that and as my selection tool, and it did a really good job, I think, of selecting stuff. But I'm going to zoom in and take a look at the selection to make sure, like down here, for instance, it is excluding something that is part of a flower or a weed or something like that. So I'm going to go up here to my lasso tool, and I'm just going to choose my regular lasso, and then holding down the shift key, I want to include this little bit in the selection. So I'm going to hold down shift, and it's going to add to my selection. And so now I don't have to worry about that anymore being excluded. And then I could also come down here and we can zoom in and see what's going on with the elephant's foot here. And it's really hard for me to tell if that's just a shadow or what. It's not really clear to me, but I think that I'm going to be okay just maybe excluding, for instance, this little white bit. I think that this is sort of the contour of the elephant's foot. So holding down the Option key, you can see I've got like a little minus now next to my lasso. So while I'm holding down Option, I can just deselect the portion that I don't want. And, and then I think I'm pretty good there. Okay, so now you might look at some of this and, oh, and here, look, see, there's part of the elephant's leg. I want to hold down the Shift key to include that. So and then if you don't feel like you can get like a really good clean line with just the regular lasso, you can always click this and choose the polygon. So it allows for you to like click stuff. So for instance, if I hold down Option to deselect some of this, I can just click and then click. You just have to be careful not to get like a really kind of square looking, you know, sharp corner edge. But anyway, you can go back and you can refine your selection. And so I need to exclude some of what's happening here, I think, probably. So I'll hold down Option. Anyway, I'm just going to do a little bit of exclusion here. Like that looks like it's part of the landscape, not part of the elephant. And I'm looking for the little circle at the end. Right there's a circle. And then I think that I need to exclude also some of this as well. So it looks like maybe this is where, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it'll be okay. So it looks like a sort of like an ankle. And then if I wanted to get more of the tail, you can see here that maybe I want to get a little bit more of the elephant's tail, or I could just leave it alone. You know, that would also be okay. As a point of reference, you know, this is a vector, so I think I'll be okay with that. And then let's just take a look at some other stuff, make sure that we're good, like with the elephant's nose down here, and I think I want to get rid of some of that. Now I could also come over here and I could select, excuse me, not that. I can hold this tool down. I can also do quick selection, and holding down Option, I just click around. It's going to start to get rid of some of that. And then if I wanted to lower my brush size, I can do the left square bracket key, which is just above the return key on my right side of my keyboard. And it's underneath what the curly brace would be. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's hold down Option again. I can get down in there, get a little bit more, and then I'm good with the way that this is because it's getting all the ridges of the elephant's trunk. And looks like I want to get more of this tusk here. So let's go here, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key to add. You can see the little plus symbol pop up on my polygon lasso. So I'm just going to dive in with this and just add to that selection there. Okay. And I want to also exclude some of this so it has a little bit more shape here. So let's go right here, and we're looking for the origin points right there. And let's see here. Yeah, I think. Oh, and then I'll get the little bit of its ear over here. So right now I'm going to switch over to my my quick selection tool again, and I'm going to hold down Shift to add. And okay, so it's got a little bit more of the ear here. And let's just take a quick peek as I pan around. And it looks like I need to also get some of this foot. So there is a foot that's kind of getting hidden over here. So let's just jump over, grab my Shift key, and I'm going to kind of carefully try to get some of the bump here. I'm not using my regular lasso. Let's just try to knock some of this out. Okay, and there we go. And I think this might actually do it. And I'm not being, well, let's just go ahead. I'm not being super careful, and I'll explain why in just a minute, because we're going to go into a mask mode and we're going to smooth this out. If you're wondering about it being like really with a lot of edges and stuff,